Hey, what's up, you guys? Wyattxhim here, everyone's favorite YouTuber who stutters and mispronounces, and today we're going to do a top 10 list on the top 10 power violence bands. Now, I know I've kind of lost my footing with top 10 lists. I used to do them all the time, but I want to get back into it. And what better way to do it than with power violence? Now, if you're unfamiliar with power violence, from what I gather what it is, it's a combination of grindcore, hardcore, crust punk, and a dash of noise rock. And power violence kind of mixes these all up together and just hooks them up on steroids. This genre will always be in your face. It's always going to be aggressive, hard-hitting, knuckle-dragging of a good time. And I have 10 recommendations for you guys in a specific order of how I enjoyed them over the past month of listening to it that you guys should definitely check out. So like always, links below 1 through 10. And yeah, let's get it going. So first one up, number 10 is Sex Prisoner. This is a newly formed power violence band that I stumbled across about a couple of weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure they have a full length already released that I gave a quick listen to. And it sounds very promising, these guys. Very just straightforward. No bullshit, just aggressive, hard-hitting power violence that comes off more on the crust punk side of things. And yeah, I'm really liking what I'm hearing. It's just really straight to the point, like I said, and I'd love to hear more by them in the future. So coming in at number 10 is Sex Prisoner. Coming in at number 9 is pretty much the one we all know. Number 9 is Nails. Now, if you're new to power violence, you've never heard of it, this is pretty much the band to start off with. It's one of the bigger names. It's the one to easily get attached to. And I'll admit, even though they're not as high up on the list I feel like other people would guess they would be on, Nails' Unsilent Death, that album is awesome. I remember the first time I heard that, I was just in complete awe of just the intensity and just the violence these guys bring to the table. It's short, but just so upbeat and fast-paced that it feels more like an attack than music, and it just sounds like an all-out riot is going off when you listen to these guys. And Unsilent Death really has the more darker atmosphere, just pummeling and just grounding you down continuously as you're listening to it. And their latest album that came out earlier this year, You'll Never Be One of Us, I think is another solid album by them. They kind of change up the pace a little bit, add a tad bit more sludge to their sound, and kind of show a little bit more experimentation compared to their two previous works. But really hoping they keep changing up the pace a little bit with their sound, and really looking forward to what else they'll do next. Saying that, I really need to check out their split with Full of Hell. That sounds like a wonderful, violent time to for my listenings. But anyway, Nails comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Weekend Nachos, which they announced at the beginning of this year that they're going to do their last set of shows, and then that's it at the end of the year. And it's kind of getting near the time that they're going to call it quits, sadly. But Weekend Nachos, I've always enjoyed for having the combination of power violence and sludge continuously throughout their discography. I feel like the sludge kind of really makes the faster parts seem faster when they change up the tempo, make the intense parts feel more intense, make the slower parts almost feel atmospheric at some points, and Weekend Nachos really just kicks a shit ton of ass. So they come in at number 8. Coming in at number 7 is a classic that really put a huge influence, I feel like, on anything power violence, crust punk, hardcore punk, or hardcore in general. And number 7 is Spazz, which is really kind of like the classic name of power violence. Like I said, these guys laid out the blueprints, and even though they're really edging on the side of, hardcore punk and whatnot, it's the parts where they bring up the blast beats, they bring up the more vile screams during their sound that really makes them qualify for this list, although they do, like I said, side more on the punk edge of things. But Spazz, if you have not heard of it and you consider yourself a power violence fan, you need to change that. So Spazz is kind of like a one you got to listen to. So it comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, this was a very enjoyable band that I had a hard time kind of shutting off on. But number 6 is Combat Wounded Veteran. And this band doesn't know how to keep album titles or their names really simple, but this band is just so fun, yet so violent and vile. It's just pummeling. It sounds like an assault just going on continuously throughout their albums that last between 20 minutes to if I think the longest was like a half an hour I think I came across. But Combat Wounded Veteran, this is just a kick-ass band overall. Not much to say about it. They don't really throw any lefts or right punches at you. It's just uppercut after uppercut these guys throw at you, and it's just really kick-ass. So Combat Wounded Veteran comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, another classic name I feel like for Power Violence that sides more on the grindcore side that I really, really enjoyed. And they formed around 88 and called it quits, I think, like 20 years after that. But number 5, and I need to get shit by these guys, Hellnation. Oh my god, the intensity just never stops. Honestly, and I love it. Like I said, it sides more on that grindcore edge, but god damn, you guys just gotta listen to it. I can't put into words the violence and intensity that these guys spew out. Check it out. Number 5, Hellnation. The name should say it all for itself. Coming in at number 4 is another kind of a semi-bigger name in the Power Violence scene that I think a lot of people like just for their comedic kind of edge that these guys kind of circle around. And number 4 is ACxDC. And it's still a mystery to this day exactly what that means, but the fans came up with Antichrist Demon Core apparently. And I have one of their records, I think the self-titled or whatnot, on vinyl. And you can get that for dirt cheap online, which I highly recommend you do. And this is just fast-paced, really simplistic, very brutal, like grindcore Power Violence crust that just keeps your head spinning throughout, like the 15 or 12 minutes I think some of their releases are. But it's just very, very fast-paced and insanely fun to listen to. So number 4 is ACxDC. Coming in at number 3 is a Canadian Power Violence band called Violent Intent. And bands like this honestly make me think all the anger and violence that Canada lacks, they put in their music. It's bands like this that honestly make me think this, because these guys just have a bulky, thick, strong, beefy sound to them. The riffs combined with the drum beats just sound like gunshot fire going off, and it's just violent and aggressive. And I love how a majority of their sound goes from mid-pace to fast pace, and the mid-pace stuff really just makes it feel more intense. It makes like the vocalist is right in your face, just spewing and spitting at you all this nasty shit and whatnot. It's violent, it's aggressive, and it's just kick-ass as well. So Violent Intent, their latest album, Machine into Flesh, that is a badass fucking album. Check that out in the link below at number 3. Coming in at number 2, and these guys would be number 1 if they just stuck together, which it's just the one negative thing about them. They're not around anymore. They just formed like 3 years ago, but you guys should have seen this coming because they incorporate both power violence and noise. Number 2 is Hatred Surge. Goddamn, the combination of noise just makes everything tenfold in intensity, and it just gets my blood rushing every time I listen to it, especially their album Deconstruct. That honestly feels like buildings are being demolished. The sound these guys give off, it sounds like TNT going off all the time. And I love the noise distortion, how it really sets on the bass. It makes everything just feel more staticky, more intense, more chaotic than it actually is, and it works in its favor. It doesn't even seem like they're really doing that much complex stuff other than just being fast, but that noise just adds to the intensity so much, and again makes it just so tenfolded in intensity. So definitely check this out. Number 2, Hatred Surge. And number 1 is a power violence band. It just slightly edges in. There are moments where they come very crust punk and hardcore, but they also infuse a little bit of death metal and grind as well. And number 1 is a Japanese semi-power violence, more on the grindcore side, but they just managed to get in here for me personally. Number 1 is Swarrrm, with 3 R's, and the vocals alone just make it number 1. I don't know what it is with Japanese vocalists, but they have like this certain sound to them that makes them stand out, where you could just show me a band, not tell me any information, and if they are from Japan and I hear those vocals, I can just tell. Japanese vocals just come off so absurdly disgusting and just so absurdly intense and chaotic. they just have their own sound to them. Like, it's a next, like, Wretched is just like the easy way of putting it, their vocals, and Swarrrm is a perfect example of that. Check it out in the link below at number 1, and you'll understand why I put these guys at number 1. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's my top 10 power violence bands. I'm still kind of new to the genre, so if you have any recommendations, would love to hear it. And yeah, like always, hopefully you discovered something new. Thanks for watching, liking, supporting, and subscribing. You guys are the best, and good listens.